A rubric, by definition, is a set of impartial guidelines used by teachers to evaluate academic performance. This rubric is something you can use to self-evaluate your English speaking skills and perhaps more importantly, your English study skills. This tool will get you thinking about your commitment to the learning process. It's important you give yourself an honest evaluation. I do believe the results will surprise you. This evaluation is more about study skills and attitude than it is about making sounds, which is really what we cover in the other evaluation videos. Use this tool to evaluate your approach, your mindset, your way of thinking as it applies to practicing and studying English. Don't be too critical. We don't want you to self-inflict pain. We want you to learn and make learning easier. And remember, every day is a new learning opportunity. Let's dive into the rubric. The first thing you need to know is that the left side has 5 categories: sound identification, sound separation and isolation, learning techniques, pronunciation delivery, and practice habits. And each one of those things has a corresponding block, if you would, box, where performance is identified and rated. So the ratings go from left to right. Low proficiency is a 1, 3 medium proficiency, and high, very strong, terrific skills are on the far right and are rated high level of proficiency. So for the first line, sound identification, the low box, the poor performance, if you would, this particular person does not know they have problem sounds. They're really oblivious to what's going on. They know they need to improve their pronunciation. Well, they've got a clue that they need to fix things. We'd rate that as a 2. If someone like yourself has a list of problem words, you went through that trouble words worksheet, and you've got a list of problem words, you really got something to work with. When you can identify your problem sounds, you've really taken that to the next step. We'd rate that as a 4. And then if you can identify the words that give you, if you can identify the words with the problem sounds that cause you the problem, that's a level of awareness which is quite high, and I would rate that as a 5. That's excellent. Personally, I think that's pretty easy to do, and it really jumpstarts everything. The next category of evaluation is sound separation and isolation. So here we're really asking you to look at yourself, look at your own ability, and decide where you are on this 1 to 5 scale. So do you use unpronounced or mispronounced sounds or endings? Do you speak too fast and really have no discipline when speaking? That's my gigantic mumble I keep talking about. That would be rated low. The next step is that the person exercises little effort to identify, separate, and isolate sounds. Really doesn't get that identifying the sounds is the key to fixing pronunciation. Now, if someone is making an effort to make each sound complete and full and include air, wow, that's terrific. That's a medium. And it's even a little bit more because it takes a lot of work to get there. But if there is a determined focus to speak slowly and completely and with enough air to make every sound, that's like getting a triple in baseball. That's just about a home run. And if you do a very good job of making sure that the endings of your words are correct, like look, really precise, and the endings, and you have spacing between your sounds, and you use enough air, that's a 5 rating. That's like a home run or even a grand slam if you understand American baseball. As far as the next category, learning techniques. A lot of people watch television to learn and practice English. And that's actually a reasonable strategy. However, I'm going to tell you that watching TV and movies isn't always the best, especially if you're using the subtitles that are there. Oftentimes the subtitles really don't match what's being said. The actors in a movie, while fully capable of speaking well, are often in a dialect playing a character. Not the best way to learn English. What I would suggest, if you do want to watch television to help you learn English, watch professional news. These people are excellent speakers. They pronounce well. They will convey to you proper pronunciation. I can still not guarantee that the subtitles will match what they say. That's not often the case. It's good if you can read an English newspaper. Generally, the written word, professional editors, professional writers, you should be able to get language that's well constructed and read it aloud. Read it aloud. You need to hear what you're saying before you can correct it. Words with, this one's a fun one. Work with a mirror so you can see what you say, so you can watch your mouth move. See how you form sounds. I know for guys out there that might be difficult, and there might be some cultural considerations, but if you can get a hold of a small makeup mirror, the ladies out there will know what I'm talking about. It has 2 sides to it. Play with the one you like, but it's a fun way, it's a good way to observe what you look like when you speak and how you form and shape your sounds. It's actually quite a good tool to use. The fourth, someone in the learning techniques, someone who's out there and recording their own speech and listening to it and evaluating it and say, I can put more air here. Let me do that. Let me say that more. Let me air. You really need to go big with some of these words. So if you can begin to record your own speech and listen to it and critique it, how you can improve it, I would rate that as a 4. And then the only way, honestly, you're going to learn English is to speak it. You can have it all in your head, but you need to hear it and you need to engage with others who speak English. I know it takes courage. It's a leap of faith. And a lot of you may not have access to other English speakers. But if you're in a classroom situation, when you go to lunch, talk English. Don't speak your native language. I worked with an extraordinary group of teachers from China. Actually, there were about 35 that were brought to the University of Massachusetts, and they represented pretty much the entire country of China. These were English teachers, lower to high school, all grades, and they spoke very, very well. But at some level, they didn't know how well they spoke because they were in their own bubble. And at lunch, they would sit and they would talk in Chinese. So I would sit with them and I would encourage them to speak English. And I would work individually and as a group, but I had them reading poetry. Words they had never seen before. So you may know the English language way better than you think you do. And one of the ways to reinforce your learning is to speak with other people who speak English. And do it in a friendly way and help each other pronounce better English. Pronunciation delivery is the next category of the next category we look at. And this is really where the rubber meets the road, as we say. So to get a low score here, someone would have to really be difficult to understand. Their words are mumbled, they speak too quickly. It's like, wow, I don't even want to listen to this person. The next evaluation criteria, which would earn a 2, which is still a low score, but it begins to establish the awareness of the physical mechanics of making sounds. This person is starting to this is what happens when you speak too fast. You trip over your words. Your mind is ahead of what you want to say. So what I just did here is a perfect example of what not to do. When you're enthusiastic about something and you're speaking to people that you know, especially, you tend to speak quickly. But in reality, you need to slow down, as I've just shown you, a perfect example of speaking too fast. And really, I would give myself a 1 or a 2 for that language delivery, pronunciation delivery. But it shows you how much concentration you actually need to speak slowly. It's not easy. It takes a great deal of concentration. And I think it's more difficult when you're with people that you know, because you're comfortable, your brain gets engaged, you start speeding up when in fact you need to slow down. So, but becoming awareness of the mechanics of how sounds are made, particularly air, that we'd rate a 2. When your awareness of your breathing and control of spacing between sounds, and you start sounding kind of weird, but once you get that sound production correct, the air involved correctly, you'll find that you can do that in a compressed format, and you'll go back to speaking clearly, but speaking reasonably well at a good pace. You won't be going really fast. Don't want you to go really fast. I want you to go at a rate of speech that people around you can understand. I also want you to go at a rate of speech that you can understand, that your ear can hear before your mouth says it. Because in that infinite piece of time in between your ear hearing and your mouth speaking is enough time for you to self-correct your speech. And if you go slow enough, you'll find that sweet spot so you can correct yourself, just like I did there, before it comes out, or attempted to. So managing your air and physical control gets you a 4. And if you can if you can pronounce each sound as being spoken clearly, completely, slowly, like I keep saying, then you really are hitting the high mark here. And quite frankly, you can do this. And finally, we talk about practice habits. And for the person who would get a low score here, they don't practice. They're kind of not taking it really seriously to the point where they're willing to do a little bit of extra work. Now, someone who would rate a 2 is someone who would practice their problem sounds, but only when needed. They really wouldn't be working on this too much. Someone who does it occasionally, I'd score them a 3. When you do them on a regular basis, you read, you have that trouble words worksheet, you've identified problem words, you've identified problem sounds, and you read that every other day. That's the kind of commitment we're talking about to earn a 4. And when you do them every day, regularly, you're listening to correct yourself, then you'd hit a 5. So the rubric is a very interesting tool to use, for you to use. Now, what's interesting here is the conclusion is really the same as the introduction. I don't usually do that, but in this case, I wanted to make the point. If you perform an honest and self-evaluation, the results will surprise you. And remember, this evaluation is more about study skills than it is about making sounds. And it also gets into your attitude around your study. Use this as a tool to evaluate your approach to practicing and learning and studying English. And please, don't be too critical. Be easy on yourself. Don't be too critical. Correct yourself mid-sentence is fine. It's perfectly acceptable. And remember, every day is a new day to learn and practice your English speaking skills. This is Howard. Thank you for watching. This video was a candid video. I showed you my process of speaking. I showed you my process of correcting my speech. And I acknowledged when I went too fast, corrected it, slowed down. That's acceptable. If you're speaking too quickly with someone, call a timeout and say, look, I'm so sorry. I just realized how fast I was speaking. Let me slow down for you. Give me an opportunity. I'll say that again for you so we can both understand what I'm saying. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate your time here at the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you for watching, listening, and putting your brain to work. As we end the video, I would like to ask you to support the channel. If you are inclined, click thumbs up to give us a like, click the subscribe button to subscribe, and the bell to be notified of new and future videos. If you have the time, please comment, share your experience. Please know that I appreciate and value your viewership and comments very much. And finally, as always, remember to speak slowly, clearly, and completely, and take a full breath into each sound. This is the ultimate guide to your success. This is Howard saying bye for now.